Hello and welcome. Today I saw the movie Opus and now want to tell you about it. Opus is a psychological thriller about a group of people being invited to a private villa in order to experience a world-class artist's new work. Mark Anthony Green wrote and directed the film, which stars Ayo Edebiri, John Malkovich, and Juliette Lewis. Have you ever seen an advert that made your mouth water? Well, Opus is just like that. It's got all these amazing pieces, a really cool setup, and promises you a delicious bite to eat. And just like the advert, the reality is disappointing. The story is similar to films like The Menu or Blink. You have an eccentric rich dude, Malkovich, who is reclusive and highly sought after. He invites a group of people out to his commune in the desert and they listen to the songs on his new album, one by one. The people he invites are an assortment of journalists, other artists, and industry-related people. The main character is a young journalist named Ariel who is trying to get a big break in her career. For the first half, they show what a weird guy the rich dude is. Malkovich puts on little half-hearted song and dance numbers, invades the privacy of his guests, and feeds them in ridiculous ways. While he's being weird, Edebiri wanders around the place, discovering all of the cultish practices they engage in. Then about halfway through, some of the guests start going missing, and they begin the thriller elements of the story. For positives, you have the premise and setup portions of the story, elements of the visual journey, some of the soundtrack, and most of the cast's performances. Starting with the story, they did a good job of setting up an amazing-looking meal. They set up all the pieces, built a mysterious, cool antagonist, and they explained everything well without having to beat you over the head with exposition. They didn't execute it well, but they did a good job creating the framework. The characters' motivations and all the answers were made clear, but I left wishing they'd done more with the juicy bits. Most of the cast also did a great job with what they got. There's Ayo Edebiri at the center, giving you a Nancy Drew type investigator. She's clever, she's confident, and she's easy to root for. Edebiri does a fantastic job with her reactions to the situation and with her character's emotional arc. Behind her is a supporting cast filled with stereotypical sleazy characters that are done well. Juliette Lewis, Murray Bartlett, Melissa Chambers, Stephanie Suganami, and Mark Sivertson all do a solid job adding some flavor to the film and showing off horrified reactions when the time comes. Opposite the guests are the staff members. Amber Midthunder, Tatanka Means, and Peter Dizeth were some of the standouts. They played cultish personalities with a very extreme, but nice on the surface kind of vibe. They did a good job making things feel uncomfortable whenever they were around. Visually, there's a ton of beautiful shots of the commune, a lot of cool wide shots of the group, and a ton of extras moving around. His home is like a palace with all kinds of different flavors throughout its halls, and the surrounding village is like an old-fashioned western town. The journey as a whole is an isolated romp into the desert, with incredible-looking cinematography and lots of color. They don't focus much on the gore aspects of the story, but do a good job of creating a menacing atmosphere and capturing the emotional journey. The ranch and its surrounding areas are also quite lovely. They brought in a lot of extras, and it makes this place feel like a real commune. Sound-wise, the film creates its own original music to help sell the idea that John Malkovich is a pop star, and it uses scored instrumentals to help add a bit of emotion and tension when it's called for. The original music was kind of funny in a bad way, but didn't really sell me on the idea that Malkovich was a star. The scored instrumentals did a much better job, helping to create tense scenes and a few great stomach-dropping moments. Which brings me to the film's negatives. The story starts off great, but doesn't go anywhere or do anything exciting. Malkovich is phoning the role in. The visual journey doesn't have much to offer beyond the basics, and the songs go from funny to grating quickly. The story spends forever setting up the premise, and then skips the actual fun part where the rich dude kills people, instead of having these long, drawn-out deaths where he toys with them, and monologues about why he did it. He just kills two of them off screen and starts stabbing people randomly when he runs out of time. It's a huge letdown, and they compound it by cutting his big reveal in half. They create another big twist which drags the movie out another 5 minutes, and ruins any sense of completion it had. It basically ends the movie with a big open question about what's going to happen next. Malkovich is also quite boring in this film. He's done this role before and done it much better. He's playing the quiet, well-spoken villain with truly insane ideals. He says the lines well enough, but comes off as disinterested most of the time. He never appears to be a passionate, fanatical leader, which is what the role calls for. He also never comes off as a musician. He sings like he's parodying something. He dances like a wallflower, and he has about as much energy as a 3,000-year-old mummy. It makes it really hard to accept that all these people are here because they worship him as an artist. Visually, this film would be perfect if they had actually showed the kills. They set them up, even showed snippets of them, but never once did they show the full gore. It's incredibly disappointing after all the setup they did, and makes this feel like a PG-13 movie with no impact. Sound-wise, the Malkovich songs are both good and bad. They're kind of funny in a blonde type of way, but also suck at actually getting a message and feeling across. They're just parody songs sung badly. The more they play, the less funny the joke becomes, and the more grating it starts to get. By the halfway point, I was hoping they'd kill Malkovich off, just so we wouldn't have to hear him whisper talk to Techno anymore. Personally, I thought this film had a great opener, and then it flopped like a fat man slamming into the ocean. They set up this cool villain, weird setting, and then just didn't do any of the things they promised to do. It's not an original idea, which wouldn't have mattered if they did something interesting with it. It's also not entertaining. You can't survive on setup. You have to actually deliver something someday. Promises don't fill bellies, and they don't entertain the masses either. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 4 out of 10. You can sit through it. You'll just be bored after the initial charm wears off. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye.